Thank you very much, Ellen. Welcome you to Medsoul African Motives. So today, good people, I want us to look at creative arts. I want us to be on creative arts. This is where I want us to be in today's presentation. So this is a revision for term 2. So we're going to prepare ourselves with the paper that was written in Destinator School, that is in relation to grade 9, like we have said, is term 2. So for you to write this paper, you are just to take how many minutes? Just an hour, 60 minutes, and you are to get 50 marks. So that is that, good people. So let us move on to another point. So these are the questions that you're going to answer. You're going to answer question 1, whereby you're to get 5 marks. Question 2, 5, and section B is question 3, and question 4 and 5. So question 3, you are to get 11, and question 4, 5, and question 5, 14. And section C, which is question 6, you are to get 10. And the total is 50 marks. So that is that. Now we can move on to questions now. We can move on to questions. So here is our section A, short questions. Section A, short questions. Question 1, as it says, use your knowledge of verbal characterization and complete the sentence below. Use the words given in the block below. So these are the words that you're talking about that are given in the block. So now 1.1 says dash refers to how fast or slow you speak. So we're given these words like pitch, pauses, emphasize, pace, volume, tone. So the correct word there is pace. Is pace. Pace refers how fast and slow you speak. So that is that. Pace refers to the speed at which person speaks. So a character may speak quickly when excited, nervous, or angry, but the character can speak slowly when sad, tired, or thoughtful. So you can make an example where you can say a character running late for school might speak very quickly because they are stressed. So that is that. So the correct term there is pace. That is that. 1.2. The character can ensure that certain words stand out by using emphasis. So that is by using emphasize. By using emphasize. So the emphasize, the emphasis means placing a special stress on certain words to make them stand out and show their importance. For example, I said I wanted the red shirt, not the blue one. So the word red is emphasized because it is important to the meaning. So that is that, good people. That is emphasized. So let us be on 1.3. Dash is how deep or high your voice is. So dash is how deep or high your voice is. So there we can talk of pitch. We can talk of pitch. So that is that, pitch. So pitch is how deep or high your voice is. So pitch refers to high or low a voice sounds. Different pitches help show different emotions and personalities. For example, a young child usually has a high-pitched voice, while an adult man may have lower-pitched voice. So that is that. Dash is how loudly or softly a character speaks. So here we are talking about what? A volume. So the correct term there is volume. That is volume. Volume is how loudly or softly a character speaks. So volume is how loudly or softly person speaks. It can help show emotions such as anger, fear, excitement, or sadness. For example, a teacher may speak loudly to get the attention of noisy class. So hope we are together on that. So now we come to 1.5. When a character uses a lot, dash, it means that they stop, think about things. So when a character uses pauses, when the character uses pauses, so that is that. When a character uses pauses, so that it means that they stop and think about things. So pauses are moments when a speaker stops tweaking for a short time. They can create suspense and show uncertainty or allow time for thinking. For example, I know who took the money. Then you pause, it was John. So that is that, good people. So hope we are together on that. So now let us move on to question 2. Let us be on question 2. Question 2 says, are the following statements or true or false? So it says, pauses in a poem or drama can be used to create dramatic effect. So the answer is true. The answer is true. That is true. Pauses help build suspense and make the audience focus on important moments. For example, before revealing a secret, a character may pause to increase tension. So that is that. You can use accents to show the nationality of characters to the audience. So they are saying that is 2.2. You can use an accent to show the nationality of the characters to the audience. That is true. That is true. That an accent can help the audience understand where a character comes from. So a character speaking with French accent may be shown as coming from France. So that is that. Characters that are angry will speak fast in a soft voice. Characters that are angry will speak fast in a soft voice. This is false. This is false. False because angry characters usually speak loudly and they speak quickly because of strong emotions. So that's what we're saying is false. So that is that. So stereotyping can lead to discriminating against people. Stereotyping, that is true. That is true. So stereotyping means making assumptions about people based on group they belong to. So this can cause unfair treatment. For example, assuming someone is not good at all because of their gender is a discrimination based on stereotype. 2.5. A portraiture is to paint a picture of nature. So that is false. So when you talk of a portraiture, that is the art of creating pictures of people. Painting of nature are called landscape, not a portraiture. So that is that. So let us move on to question 3. Let us move on to question 3. Section B, which is drama. Question 3. Question 3 says, name and discuss 3 types of conflict you can find in a play. Give an example by each of these conflicts. Give by example by each of these conflicts. So you name and discuss. You can talk about a character. We can talk of character versus character conflict. Character conflict. So as we are asked to name and discuss, so character conflict happens when one character struggles against one another. So it happens when one character struggles against one another. Struggles against one another. So that is that. For example, you can talk of 2 brothers fighting over who should inherit family business. That is that, for example, you can talk of two brothers. We can talk of two brothers fighting over who should inherit family business, fighting over who should inherit a family business, who should inherit a family business. So we call that a character versus character conflict. So that is that. So it happens when one another struggle against one another. So we have character versus self-conflict. We have character versus self-conflict. Character versus self-conflict. So this is an internal conflict. So this is an internal conflict. The character struggles with emotions, decisions, or fears or beliefs. So this is where we are saying the character struggles with emotions, as well as fears, and as well as beliefs as well, or beliefs. So that is that, for example, we can talk of Elena. Elena finds a lost wallet, where we can say Elena, for example, Elena finds a lost wallet, a lost wallet, and must decide whether, and must decide whether to keep the money, or return it. So that is what you call a character versus self conflict. So here it happens internally. So that is why we are saying this is an internal conflict. So when you talk of this, we are talking about what? Internal conflict, character versus self conflict. So the character struggles with the emotions, fears, or belief. That is what we're saying. You find that the learner finds a lost wallet. So he's going to decide whether to keep the money or return it. So that is what we're saying, a character versus self-conflict. While this one was character versus character conflict, where it happens where when one character struggles against one another. So the other one, so the other uh, The other type of conflict now is character versus society conflict. So here we are saying the character versus society conflict. So this is where we are saying this conflict occurs when a character disagrees. So we are saying this conflict occurs, it occurs when a character disagrees with society rules, disagrees with society rules, traditions, and laws and expectations and expectations. So that is that. So we are saying this conflict occurs when a character disagrees with society. You can talk of rules, you can talk of traditions, you can talk of laws as well as expectations. For example, you will find that you can talk of a girl wants to become a pilot, even though her community believes only men should do that. So we can say a girl wants to become a pilot, even though even though her believes believes only men should do that job. Only believes only men should do that job. So that's when we are saying a character faces society conflict. So that is that. Hope we are together, people. So now we can move on to 3.2. Explain the term monologue. Explain the term monologue. That is question 3.2. Explain the term monologue. So a monologue is a long speech delivered by one character. We are going to say a monologue. A monologue a long is a long speech delivered by one character. Delivered by one character. Mono means one, as you can still remember. Delivered by one character. So that is that. So it means during monologue, one character speaks at a length to express thoughts and feelings and expresses all opinions. That was what you can say that during monologue, during a monologue, one character speaks at a length, speaks at the length to express thoughts, feelings, as well as experiences or opinions. So that is that. For example, you'll find that the king standing on a stage alone, talking about his fears and worries for several minutes. So that is that. Difference from dialogue, because with dialogue, we know dialogue involves two or more characters speaking to each other, while a monologue involves only one speaker. So that is that. Now let us move on to question 4. Let us be on question 4 with people. Let us be on question 4. Question 4 says, name the 5 elements of drama. Name 5 elements of drama. So we have a plot. So when we talk of plot, the plot is the sequence of events that make up a story. For example, a detective searches for clues, finds the criminal, solves the mystery. So that is a plot. It's the sequence of events that make up the story. Like when you're talking about a detective, he searches for clues, he finds the criminal, he solves the mystery. So those are the events that you're talking about that It's a sequence of the events that make up what the story, that is a plot. Then the other one is character. It's one of the elements of what? Of a drama. Characters are the people or creatures in the drama. Those are people or creatures in the drama. They are characters. For example, we can talk of Romeo and Juliet. Juliet are characters in a play. So that is that. Also, we have a dialogue. We have what? A dialogue. So with dialogue, we are saying dialogue is the conversation between characters. For example, Mary, where are you going? Then John will say, I'm going to the market. That is a dialogue. So the other one is a film. So the film is the main message or lesson of the drama. For example, a play about friendship may teach that true friends support each other. That is a film. So now we have setting. So we've setting that the setting is where and when the story takes place. For example, a drama set in South African village in 2025. So that is that good people. So now let us move on to section C, question 5. Let us move on to section C, question 5. So we are on section C, question 5. So section C, question 5 is the visual arts. Question 5 says, match the painting in column A to the correct description in column B. Write only the correct letter next to the number below. So this is a matching question. So we have column A as well as column B. So the descriptions are in column B and they are to match a painting in column A. So the description are to match painting in column A, good people. So let's start by 5.1. Let us start by 5.1. So for this, for grade 9 creative arts, it is important to recognize this artist style. The artist style, like we're going to talk about Van Gogh, Rembrandt, Picasso, Leonardo, Vinci. So that is that. But now let us start from let us start from 5.1. So we can look at this picture and then see which description do match this picture. And then you can see that for that picture 5.1, the correct answer is going to be C there. That is C. The correct answer there is C. C is correct. C is correct where we are talking about Vincent Koch's portrait of Dr. Gadget. Dr. Gadget, that is 1890. So 1890. So why are we saying that the painting shows a man laying his head on his hand? So it uses Van Gogh's characteristic swirling blue brush stroke. So that is that. The correct answer is C. 5.2. With 5.2, 5.2, the correct answer there is D. 5.2, the correct answer there is D. D is correct. So that is that. D is correct. So that is whereby D says the Rembrandt paints himself as a young man in 1634. So he paints himself as a young man. You can look at this picture. So that is the painting is dark-toned portrait of a young man wearing a black hat. So that is that. So Rembrandt often painted self-portraits throughout his life. So the style uses light and shadow, which is typical of Rembrandt's work. So that is that. So now let us come to 5.3. So 5.3, the correct answer for 5.3 is A. A is correct. A is correct for 5.3. So we are going to say A. So A says eh, Picasso's portrait of Dora Maar painted in 1937. So the face is distorted and shown from different angles, as you can see. This face is distorted and it is shown from different angles at the same time. So bright colors such as yellow, green, or red and purple are used. So that is that. Dora Maar was one of the Picasso's most famous subjects. So that is that. 5.4. Yeah, 5.4, as you are looking at this picture, the correct answer for 5.4 is B. Is B. The Mona Lisa painted by Leonardo da Vinci in 1400. So that is that. The correct answer there we say is B. So the correct answer is B. That is, the painting shows a woman with gentle smile and folded hands. So it is one of the most famous paintings in the world. And even the background landscape and realistic style are typical of Leonardo da Vinci's work. So that is that. So that is why I've said it is that grade 9, make sure that it is important to recognize this artist style. So know this artist style. So remember we have said 5.1 is C, 5.2 we have said is D, 5.3 said is A, and 5.4 is B. So that is that with people. Now let us move on. Let us move on to question 6. Question 6 says, write the word fruit decoratively in the block on the next page. On the next page, use coloring pencils to brighten your design and use all the design principles. Be creative, pay attention to the background. Remember to do your planning and read the assessment rubric. So this is the assessment rubric. This is the assessment rubric that you are asked to use for question 6. So this is ratings from 1 up to 5. So that is that wherever you be rated on the writing of the word is devotive or interesting, the word is correctly placed in the block, the word is easily readable, attention is given to the background, the task is correctly completed and finished off, the learner planned where and how to write the word, the learner used creative font or patterns on motifs. So this will be done. This rubric will be used after you have been able to use the decorative word fruit. So then you will be able to know where do you score. So that is the ratings. So now for this question, it's very important that we can come to practical work and then give hint of how to earn full marks. How to earn full marks. How to earn full marks. That is very important. So we are just going to give you a tip of how you can do that. So first, you have to draw. Draw the wet fruit. So sorry, let me write it. So, draw the wet fruit. Draw the wet fruit. That is that you draw the wet fruit in a large bold letters. That is how we're going to do it. 2, use different colors for each letter. Use different colors for each letter. 3, add fruit pictures. Add fruit pictures such as apples, bananas, oranges, grapes, and as well as strawberries and strawberries. So that is that. 4, then you decorate the background. Decorate background with patterns and designs. With patterns and designs. So that is that. 5, now use what? Use the design principles. Use the design principles. So you use the design principles. That is when you can do what you can balance. Balance, you distribute decorations evenly. You can contrast. With contrast, use light and dark colors. So let me just write them. So with balance, you're saying you distribute decorations. You distribute decorations evenly. But with contrast now, you use light. Use light and dark colors. Then you can as well emphasize now. You can emphasize whereby you make the word fruit stand out. You make the word fruit stand out. Then also you can do repetition. So with repetition, you repeat fruit patterns. You repeat fruit patterns. So that is that. Then come to unity. So with unity, you make all parts work together. You make all parts work together as one design. As one design. So that is that. So that is that. That is how you can answer that question 6. That is how easy you can do that. The example of idea that you can make is that the letter F could be made from bananas. That is why we are talking about fruit. The letter F could be made from bananas, R from grapes, U from oranges, I from strawberries, and T from apples with colorful fruit pattern background. That is how you can be able to earn marks for that question 6. So these are the tips of how you can do that decoration. Thank you very much for your time. Please make use of this presentation as it is very useful and helpful for you to be well prepared for your grade 9 for your creative arts for your creative arts good people. Thank you very much.